The metal door slammed shut with a sound that echoed down the long, gray hallway.
Bang!
Inside cell block D of Greystone Women's maximum security prison, chaos had already begun. 2 inmates were wrestling on the floor, one with short red hair, the other with a shaved head and tattoos running down her arms. Guards shouted over the noise, boots thundering against the concrete as alarms blared. Lockdown. Everyone back in your cells. But no one listened. A food tray had been turned into a weapon. Plastic cracked, coffee spilled, and the air filled with shouts and the smell of bleach. Inmate number 3249, known inside as Lexi Ray, once a schoolteacher from Chicago, pressed herself against the cold wall, eyes wide as the fight exploded just feet from her. Then came the moment that froze the whole room. One of the women reached under her orange jumpsuit and pulled out something small and sharp. The guards didn't even have time to react before the screen cut to black. And that's how the worst morning in Greystone Prison began. 6 hours earlier, the place had been quiet. The kind of quiet that makes your skin crawl. At 5:30 a.m., the lights blinked on without warning. Bright white light flooded every cell, waking up 300 women who all groaned at the same time. The smell of metal and disinfectant filled the air. "Rise and shine, ladies. Another beautiful day in paradise," yelled Officer Barnes, his voice dripping with sarcasm as he banged his baton on the iron bars. Lexi sat up on her thin mattress. Her back hurt from the cold steel frame. She rubbed her eyes and looked at her cellmate, Marisol, who was already tying her hair back. "Barnes sounds extra mean today," Marisol mumbled. "He's always mean," Lexi said quietly. "He just smiles when he does it." At 6 a.m., the cell doors opened with a heavy click. The women filed out in straight lines, no talking, no looking around too much, no sudden moves. The hallway smelled faintly of oatmeal and burnt toast from the kitchen below. They marched to the cafeteria, guarded by officers at both ends. Breakfast was a spoonful of watery eggs, 1 slice of toast, and a cup of instant coffee that tasted like rust. The walls were painted beige, but years of grime had turned them gray. Inmates sat at metal tables bolted to the floor. No one smiled. Lexi sat across from Marisol and Tanya, a tall woman who had been in Greystone for 15 years. Tanya leaned in and whispered, "Word is, they're shutting down visiting hours. No more family calls. Something's going down." Lexi frowned.
What?
"Why?" Tanya shrugged. "They say someone tried to smuggle in something last week, something bad. The warden's losing it." Before Lexi could reply, a guard shouted, "No talking across tables." Everyone froze. The tension was so thick, you could taste it. After breakfast, the inmates lined up again for morning inspection. Every pocket, every sleeve, every hair tie was checked. The guards looked angry. Not tired, not bored, angry. "Hands on the wall," one barked. Lexi obeyed. She could feel the walls chill against her palms. She hated how it made her feel, like she was invisible. At 8 a.m., she was taken to her work assignment, laundry duty. The prison laundry room was always hot, steamy, and loud. Machines rumbled as orange uniforms spun around in giant dryers. Marisol hummed under her breath, trying to lighten the mood. "Just think, Lexi. If we fold 100 more shirts, maybe they'll give us extra air to breathe." Lexi laughed softly. That was Marisol, always finding humor in a hopeless place. But then something strange happened. 2 guards entered, whispering to each other. One carried a clipboard, the other held a radio to his ear. They scanned the room carefully, eyes sharp, stopping for a moment on Lexi and Marisol. Then they left without saying a word. "Did you see that?" Marisol said. "Yeah," Lexi whispered. "They're up to something." By noon, word spread fast. The prison was officially on lockdown. No visitors. No phone calls. No outside contact. The intercom crackled to life. "This is Warden Hale. Due to a security breach, all visitation rights are suspended until further notice. Anyone caught violating communication protocols will face solitary confinement." The room fell silent. Lexi felt her chest tighten. Her mom was supposed to visit next week. It had been months since she'd seen her. Marisol sighed. Told you something was coming. The rest of the day dragged on like a storm cloud that wouldn't move. The afternoon was work, dinner, roll call, all mechanical, all watched. Guards walked in pairs now, hands on their tasers. Something was brewing beneath the surface, something everyone could feel but no one could name. That night, in the dim orange glow of the hallway lights, Lexi sat on her bunk, staring at the small picture taped to her wall, her and her mom, smiling on a sunny day years ago. She whispered, "Mom, I'm sorry." Then she heard it, a faint tapping sound coming from the cell next door. 3 taps. Pause. 2 taps. Prison code. Marisol froze. That's from cell 18. That's Tanya's cell. Lexi leaned closer to the wall. Tap, tap, tap. Pause. Tap, tap. Marisol whispered. That means they found it. Found what? Lexi asked, her stomach dropping. But before Marisol could answer, the lights flickered. Once, twice, and then went completely dark. Someone screamed. The loudspeakers crackled to life again, this time with a different voice. It wasn't the warden. It wasn't a guard. Everyone stay calm, the voice said. Do not move. There's been an incident in cell block D. Lexi's heart raced. Cell block D, that was just 3 corridors away. Suddenly, the siren started. Red emergency lights flashed across the walls. Guards ran past, shouting orders. Lexi grabbed the bars of her cell, trying to see down the hall, but all she could make out were shadows moving fast. Marisol whispered, "Lexi, this isn't just lockdown anymore." Then came the unmistakable sound of something breaking, glass, metal, and shouting. The prison, the one place that was supposed to be locked tight, was now alive with chaos. And Lexi had no idea that before sunrise, she'd be standing right in the middle of it. The sound of screaming filled the air. Lexi pressed her hands against the bars, her heartbeat thudding so loud she could barely hear anything else. Red light flashed over the walls again and again, painting everything in blood-colored shadows. Guards ran past with flashlights and radios, shouting words she couldn't understand. "Stay back. Stay in your cells," one of them yelled. Marisol grabbed Lexi's arm. "Lexi, what if they're coming this way?" "I don't know," Lexi whispered, her voice trembling. Then came the smell, thick and sharp, like burning plastic. Smoke started curling through the vents. Somewhere down the hall, a woman coughed and screamed. The loudspeaker cracked again. "This is an emergency. All units report to cell block D immediately. Medical response needed. Repeat, medical response needed." Marisol's eyes widened. "Cell block D, that's close." "It's only 3 corridors away," Lexi said softly. "That's where the fight was this morning." The memory flashed through her mind. The brawl, the broken tray, the sharp object hidden under the jumpsuit. Something terrible had happened. The lights flickered again. Then, for one long second, the hallway went completely dark. When the backup power kicked in, the silence that followed was worse than the noise. 2 hours earlier, everything had seemed almost normal. The lockdown had stretched through the day, and the inmates had been told to stay in their cells. Lunch had been delivered through small metal slots in the doors, cold beans and dry bread. The guards had kept their eyes down, not saying a word. Lexi had spent the afternoon pacing her cell, counting steps. 23 steps from one wall to the other. Back and forth, like time itself had stopped. At one point, she heard a sound like metal scraping against metal, faint but steady. Marisol lifted her head. "You hear that?" Lexi nodded. "It's coming from the ventilation shaft." They both stood quietly. The sound came again, scrape, pause, scrape. Then 3 quick taps. Tap, tap, tap. "That's code again," Marisol whispered. "What does it mean?" Marisol bit her lip. "It means it's hidden." "What's hidden?" Lexi asked. But Marisol didn't answer right away. She looked nervous, like she was deciding whether to trust Lexi or not. Finally, she leaned close and whispered, "There's a rumor going around. Someone smuggled something into the prison." Not drugs, not a phone, something worse. Something that could start a riot if it got into the wrong hands. Lexi's stomach turned. You mean? I don't know exactly, Marisol cut her off. But the guards are scared. That's why they shut down visitors. They think someone from outside brought it in. Lexi sat back on the bunk, her head spinning. So what happens now? Marisol shrugged. Nothing good. When the afternoon head count came, things got even stranger. A guard named Officer Wells, usually calm and polite, looked pale and jumpy. He called out each inmate's number with a shaky voice. 3249, Lexi Ray. Here, Lexi said. He glanced at her longer than usual, then quickly moved on. After he left, Marisol frowned. He knows something.
About what?
About whatever they found. Before Lexi could respond, a loud crash echoed down the hallway, metal hitting concrete, followed by a scream. Every cell went silent. Then came running footsteps. Guards yelling. Radios crackling. Keys jingling fast. Lexi jumped to her feet. What's happening? No answer. Only chaos. One of the guards outside their block shouted. Medical team. We need medical right now. Lexi's chest tightened. Someone's hurt, she whispered. Marisol moved to the bars and peeked down the corridor. Oh no, she said under her breath. They're bringing someone out. Two guards appeared, dragging a woman whose orange jumpsuit was torn and soaked dark. Her hair was red, the same woman from the fight that morning. Her head hung low, and her hands dangled limply. Lexi gasped. That's her. That's the one who… Yeah, Marisol said quietly. Looks like she lost. The guards shouted for others to clear the way as they hurried her down the hall. Behind them, a third guard followed, carrying a plastic evidence bag. Inside it was something shiny and silver. Lexi stared. Is that a… Don't say it, Marisol whispered. A sudden burst of static cut through the intercom, followed by the warden's voice. This is Warden Hale. All inmates are to remain in their cells until further notice. No one is to speak, move, or make noise. Any disobedience will result in solitary confinement. The message repeated, cold and final. Marisol sat back down. This place is falling apart, Lexi whispered. It's not falling apart. It's cracking open. Hours later, just before midnight, the block was quiet again. Too quiet. Most of the women had fallen asleep, but Lexi lay awake, staring at the ceiling. Her mind wouldn't stop spinning. She kept hearing the scraping sound in her head, the tapping, the smell of smoke, the woman's limp body being dragged away. Then another noise.
Soft. Close.
Right outside their cell. Lexi sat up. Marisol, wake up. Marisol stirred. What is it? Someone's in the hallway. They both listened. Slow footsteps. A faint rattle of keys. Then a voice, a woman's whisper, low and shaky. Lexi Ray. Lexi froze. Did you hear that? The whisper came again. Lexi Ray. You don't know me, but you need to listen carefully. It's not safe here. Not tonight. Marisol's eyes went wide. Who is that? Lexi moved closer to the bars, but all she could see was the faint red flash of the emergency light down the corridor. Who are you? She asked. The voice replied softly, someone who doesn't want to die here. And then, silence. Footsteps faded into the distance. Marisol exhaled shakily. Lexi, what was that? Lexi whispered. I don't know. But something's happening, and whoever she was, she knows more than we do. The lights flickered again. Then, from somewhere deep inside the prison, came a new sound, louder this time. A bang, followed by shouting, then another bang. An explosion of light burst down the hallway, and smoke rolled through the vents again. The alarm screamed. Marisol covered her ears. What is that? Lexi whispered the words she didn't want to say. It's starting. She didn't know what it was, a riot, an escape, a cover-up, but she knew one thing for sure. Greystone Prison would never be the same after tonight.